The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRC Media, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
Well, hello. Welcome to Spindle City Straight Talk. I'm Chip.
And I'm CJ.
And it is Wednesday in the Riv. And we've got some...
our last show before Christmas.
Our last show before Christmas. So, and we'll get it off right because apparently there's a little dispute on who's more accurate with their characterization of a story.
Yesterday we appeared on The Bottom Line, which we do on a regular basis, as some of you may know. The Bottom Line is a 1 hour long show that airs on Facebook. It's very interesting that yesterday we said that we didn't have a copy of this police report, and we got it today. We were very respectful, and we said that we wished Judy Hilaire, St. Hilaire, all the best. We felt great that she's doing well, and we hope that she does much better. But we did point out some inconsistencies that were brought up by the Broadside newspaper out of Boston. They got those inconsistencies of what was said by the mayor from this police report. And I'm going to read this police report to you, almost in its entirety. On the above date, which was and shift, I, Officer Robert Randall, was assigned to marked Unit 411 at approximately 11:27 hours. I was dispatched to the area of North and Park Streets for a reported motor vehicle crash involving a cyclist. I arrived on scene along with Sergeant King, Officer Lima, Mattapoisett EMS, and Mattapoisett Fire Department. Upon my arrival, I observed a female pinned down by the passenger side rear tire of a Toyota Tacoma, bearing mass registration, and I'm not going to give you the number. She was being cared for by Sergeant King, Officer Lima, and Mattapoisett EMS. They were able to remove the female from under the tire and transport her to St. Luke's Hospital. She was later identified as Judy St. Hilaire. A report was filed with St. Luke's by Mattapoisett EMS. Once Ms. St. Hilaire was transported from the scene, I began investigating as to what happened. I identified the operator of the vehicle as Alfred Chapples. Mr. Chapples was emotionally distraught about what had just occurred. He stated he was pulling out of Tower Road onto Park Street, traveling east to west across north. He told me that he saw the cyclist but thought he had enough time to cross over North Street. As his vehicle was across the southbound lane of North Street, he heard a bang on his passenger side and stopped his vehicle. He placed it in park, exited the vehicle, and began checking on the cyclist. He remained on scene awaiting emergency services. I was unable to speak with Miss St. Hilaire due to her injuries and being attended by EMS. I was able to speak with two other male parties who were riding in the group with her. I first spoke with Michael Campanella. He stated that he was first in line in the group. He observed the vehicle pull out across the road. He said at first it looked like the vehicle was going to let them pass, then pulled out right in front of them. He attempted to stop his bike but was unable to and crashed into the side of the truck. Make sure you heard that. He crashed into the side of the truck. His bike sustained heavy damage, but at the time of the call, Mr. Campanella stated he was uninjured and did not require any EMS services. He stated that Miss St. Hilaire was second in line. He told me that after she fell off her bike, again, fell off her bike, she ended up under the vehicle. I then spoke with Nicholas Luisi. Mr. Luisi stated he was third in line with the group. He also observed the vehicle pull out in front of them and attempted to stop. He stated he fell off his bike, but was able to stop before hitting the truck and was uninjured as well. No other cyclists at the time of the call reported any injuries or damage to the bikes. Mr. Chapples was issued a mass citation, failure to yield right away. He made arrangements for another party to operate his vehicle from the scene. This was very minimal damage to the truck. Mr. Campanelli made arrangements for him and his damaged bike to transport home by a friend. Mrs. St. Hilaire's bike was secured at the Mattapoisett police station. The cyclists estimated their speed to be around 21 miles per hour. A motor vehicle accident report was filed 2195 AC. On Monday, November 1st, at approximately 9:45 hours, I arrived at St. Luke's Hospital to speak with Ms. St. Hilaire regarding yesterday's crash. I identified myself and informed her I was also at the scene. She told me that she didn't remember much from the crash. She said she was taking turns leading the group with Michael and Nicholas and was not leading at the time of the crash. I explained to her where my investigation was leading and from the others involved regarding the crash. She was second in line behind Mr. Campanella, then he crashed into the truck and she followed, ending up under the truck. Mrs. St. Hilaire agreed that it was most likely what happened. I also informed her that her bike was at the Mattapoisett police station. She stated it would be fine to release it to Claudia Costa. I advised her to contact our department, both police and EMS, should she need any further information. There's the complete report. Complete. Absolute complete. That's the only, there are no addendums, there's no additions, that's the complete report. The mayor has insistently posted and has maintained that his wife was hit by a truck. She wasn't hit by the truck. She hit the biker in front of her or the truck and went under the truck. It doesn't say she was pinned by the tire, it says she was under the tire. Now, if the truck was parked, I have serious doubts that the truck was parked on top of her, because if that was the case, she'd really be hurting. But again, we weren't there. We don't know. We can only go by what this report shows and what this report states. Now, I'm very happy that Miss St. Hilaire is doing much better and she's on the mend, or maybe she's done, because she's getting out there and she's doing things and she's very active, and that's nice to see. But we know that when we're excited, when we're on that adrenaline rush because of an injury or because of an incident or because of a situation, we sometimes exaggerate. And maybe that's what happened here. Maybe a lot of the statements were exaggerated by the mayor, and that's a possibility. I wasn't in the hospital room. I wasn't in charge of the patient care, so I don't know what exactly went on. But based upon this report and comparing it to some of the mayor's comments, they don't seem to coincide with each other. And I have a real big problem when the mayor goes on Fall River Raw and states that we're liars and that we're trying to drum up support or something. That's just not the case. And, you know, Fall River Raw is a program which really, you know, they say it's a satire. I don't know if it's a satire or what it is, but it can be very hurtful to people at times, especially when they allow the mayor to regularly go on that show, because they're major supporters of him, and regularly derogate people and the situations that go on in Fall River. What is your take on this, Chip?
Well, as I said yesterday, and I initiated what I was talking about, this is about, you know, accuracy of the story and about a constant barrage of mischaracterizations by the mayor. He likes to call everybody else liars. And as I said, we all knew one thing: it was an accident.
Right.
And there was an article in print at a Mattapoisett paper that basically said exactly what this police report said.
Exactly.
From eyewitnesses that, you know, the truck did not hit the cyclist hit the truck, i.e., and that the mayor's wife hit the other bike. So, okay, tragic accident. Obviously, we all wished her well from the outset, and it's not about her. It's about an individual who constantly tries to manipulate a narrative. As I said yesterday, and I'll reiterate, everybody has their own. You know, if it was me, I would not be sharing personal information about anything about my family. If anybody asks, I would say they're doing well with it, and not share details. But he got very explicit with his details, and I don't know where he got them from, frankly. After reading this police report, because I read 2 newspaper articles, But when I read the when I read the paragraph, last paragraph, I believe it said that the mayor's wife admitted she had no recollection of the accident, and that that's probably the way it happened because a whole bunch of eyewitnesses corroborated this. So I don't know where he got that story, and I would like to know that, because if anybody's being inaccurate based on the evidence in the police report, eyewitnesses, it is what we presented, and we're not presenting it to disparage the mayor's wife. We said it's a tragic accident. We don't see anybody injured. But it's pretty clear by this report that the bicyclist T-boned the truck. The truck was in park. He stopped it when he was hit by the first cyclist and put it in park. She fell off the bike, slid under the truck, and probably got wedged under the truck with the bike and herself. She sustained serious injuries, there's no doubt about it. And that's tragic. But, we have to question everything, because he manipulates narratives. We saw this when they talked about opera money and the furor that took place with City Councilor Chris Peckham, and whose story is correct and whose story isn't correct. And then again on numerous other issues. The controversy we had on the meeting they had at Corky Row after the fatal shooting. We always seem to get a different story, and I don't know. Maybe he's just maybe he kissed the Blarney Stone on one of his visits. I don't know, but it seems that then he points fingers at everybody. Remember, when he was giving his speech, when he's talking about his people that do not agree with him, he's kind of like Biden. He wants everybody eliminated. Like I said, he's a mini Biden. So he goes like this all the time. He's pointing the finger. He's pointing the finger on us. I want to be perfectly clear. As far as I'm concerned, this is it. It's over. I don't even want to talk about this anymore, because I really feel bad for his wife, who ended up in the middle of this. This should not have been used. It should not have been publicized. That's my opinion. But if you want to go babble all kinds of false information, you're going to be held accountable. I will say that we have more evidence than you, because we did not fabricate what we said. What we did was we reiterated what eyewitnesses and news reports were stipulating. So with that, again, you're full of crap.
Well, and just for verification, this is a Mattapoisett police report referencing 21-445/OF, which would be the officer's statement, I believe.
Yep.
And the accident report is 21-95-AC, which means accident. And that has been filed. And you will notice, because the mayor at one time said, I believe the mayor said, that the trucker failed to stop at the stop sign. The mayor may not have said it. Somebody said it. There was no stop sign, and that was said by two newspapers, and it appeared on Channel 6 and 10 when they actually took the camera and said, this is where the stop sign supposedly was. There's no stop sign. And nowhere in this report does it say that the trucker was cited for failure to stop for a stop sign. They said that he failed to yield.
Yeah.
And I mean, failing to yield is...
Yeah, and obviously when we look at this, and we this is just way much to do about, like I said, we feel it's too bad that she got injured. We're not going to go into...
No.
We're not going to, let's go get the, demanding medical rights, see if the injuries are in line with his report. The bottom line is he got a lot of traction with this story, and he felt obligated to go on social media and continue this narrative, rather than say, okay, I told everybody she's in the hospital, and that's tragic. His wife was injured, and that's a tragedy. Whenever anybody's injured, it's a tragedy when there's an auto accident. And obviously, when I read this report, it's obviously the fault of the driver because he thought he could beat them across an intersection.
Right.
He's just fortunate that they were bicyclists and not a train, because the fact that, but obviously they were going at a high rate of speed, and 21 miles an hour is fairly fast on a bicycle. You don't
Yes,
have a
it
lot. And as a motorcyclist, I know that normally cycles versus vehicles, motorcycles or bicycles, you don't prevail when you have those things. So listen, as far as I'm concerned, we've established the fact that what we said was not a fabrication, it was a reiteration of things we saw. And now we've got the police report, which fundamentally corroborates the 2 news articles. So as far as I'm concerned, if somebody's nose is growing about this story, I know whose nose it is.
Well, and it's a shame that we have to do this. I mean, and we only have to do this because we're being called out. And I don't like having to prove myself every time we're called out. But as you see, we're ready to do it.
Yeah.
We're ready to do it. We're not fabricating stories. We're not fabricating stories. We're reporting on what has been reported on, what we see, and what we have. Exactly what we have. This isn't a fabrication. But it seems that the veracity of the mayor has got to be placed in question now every time he opens his mouth. Every time. Now, I've gotten a report, I don't know how accurate it is, but I've gotten a report that there's going to be a very large party funded by the school department budget. This is how much money they have to throw away, including oysters and high-end meals.
Ooh.
Okay? And the mayor has put this together, and it's going to be run by Durfee Culinary. Now, I don't know how accurate that is, but I'll tell you right now, I want a copy of the bill when it gets done, if this is the case.
And I can tell you one thing, we're not on the guest list. And
No.
And I love oysters. That's just a hint. I love oysters. But I know we're not getting invited. And like I said, these lavish parties, as you said, he's great at questioning everybody. In a debate or anything else. He's always impugning the truthfulness of anybody that disagrees with him. He's kind of like Biden. Mm-hmm. Like I said, he's a mini Biden. He's like Joe. He does the same thing. He hides in City Hall instead of in a basement. But the fact is that you don't see him out when there's a murder. You see him after the fact. You don't see him giving information to the public about anything important. All the things that are going on at Durfee High School, all the negative things, and he says, oh, you guys only deal with that. Well, tell us something positive. You don't tell us anything. He's still mum on Malone. He's still mum on the assaults at Durfee, the vandalism at Durfee, the gang activity at Durfee. But where was he yesterday on TV? Oh, we're giving out 15,000 COVID, Captain COVID Coogan. That's him. Anytime he sees a camera and he can talk about drive-in movies or some innocuous thing that he does that doesn't do anything to address the problems in the city of Fall River, he's got like a magnet. He's magnetized. He goes flying right into the camera. But when it's things that are really important, like the safety of the children in the school, the educational level of the children in the school, he's mum. All you hear is crickets. And then he doubts everybody else's truthfulness, but he never corroborates anything he says, and his feet are never held to the fire. So he's using the projection method. He's transferring the thing that we question him, and mostly, 99% of the time, we've got some real good proof, and we got a lot of proof about this one. But it's the first of, it's another one of numerous times that we've proved what his narrative is skewed at best and a flat-out fabrication at worst. So, look, you do what you got to do. I'm going to be watching all the money you blow, because we're looking at bankrupting the city. We're looking at debt overrides, diamond debt overrides, all kinds of increases in fees. And without the opera money in another year, this city's going to blow up. People are going to be in the streets, and you're having oyster parties, high-end oyster parties.
I was told something as a child that has always stuck with me. If you want to know what the others are saying about you, listen to what you're saying about the others.
That's right.
Okay, so, and the old Castilian saying?
That's right. Tell me who you walk with, and I'll tell you who you are.
There you go. And I mean, it's...
And isn't it ironic? I just watched on a news media, they were talking about the elitists in Washington, the left-wing elitists in Washington who have no connection with real people, and how they're rich and they don't care because it doesn't apply. They don't live in the same world. And then the moderator of that show, he was talking to a guest about it, and then he began to name off some of the places that they live. He said, you know, they don't live in where we live. They live in places like, Napa, and he named a whole bunch of really, and you know what, at the end when he got off the West Coast, then he said, Newton, Massachusetts.
Yep, there you go.
And where is our congressman from?
Newton,
Paul's
Massachusetts.
buddy, you know?
Newton,
and I'll tell you
Massachusetts.
what, they'd all move up to Newton if they could, but instead they move out of Fall River like all his rich and famous friends do. And you can tell, when they're not having chicken salad sandwiches, ham salad sandwiches, and tuna salad sandwiches, with coffee. That's not the buffet Paul's having. He's going to invite all his bankers and his lawyers, and they're going to eat oysters and canapes, and maybe, who knows, they might even have a little beluga caviar laying around.
Hey, you never know what they're
Who
gonna have.
knows? Because you know something? He ain't paying for it.
That's it. He's not paying for it. And I'll tell you now, it just keeps getting better and better because
That's right.
I got a report this morning that because of the inflation, our elected officials are going for a 40% pay raise.
Well, of course. While the people get a 40% less in their pocketbook
Exactly.
because of inflation, they give themselves a pay raise.
Hey,
And just remember something, people. Many, many years ago, before most of you were born, the legislature's pay raises had to be approved by the people. And they had what they called the Halloween massacre. They met on Halloween night to give themselves a massive pay raise, and that was the first and only time they cleaned out half of our legislative body in Massachusetts. The people were so pissed off that they wiped the place out. But you know what they did? In the best form of all of them, like Nancy Pelosi and her investments. I should be able to make $17 million with insider trading. Who cares? That's another one. But you know what they did? They changed the law. They don't have to come before us, even though by our Constitution they work for us, to get their pay raise approved. Like we have to go before the council to get our money approved when we used to negotiate a contract. They give themselves a pay raise, and they determine the size of it. Geez, what a deal. You wonder why they work so hard
To do nothing.
at staying up there. So, we got a couple of other things we're going.
Yeah, I just wanted to bring up, because we're running short on time as we usually do. That took more time than I expected it to.
Well, you had to do it.
But you had to do it. I guess Will Flanagan, former Mayor Will Flanagan, has got some complaints that there are supply chain disruptions in the marijuana business. City must be upset about that too.
Join the club. Right? Everybody else.
Yeah. Both Attorney Flanagan and Attorney Corey, who I guess is one of his partners, say the delays of deliveries of supplies and materials needed to build and construct retail and cultivation facilities has been a problem in recent months. Quote, there have been supply chain issues for my clients, said Corey, who represents both a Westport retail operation that has yet to open and a vertically integrated, quote unquote, grow and sell business on Airport Road in Fall River, which is located inside the former Beacon Tavern. The latter of which is known as Aura Cannabis LLC. Flanagan is one of three partners in the ventures known as Cosmopolitan Dispensary. What a name, huh?
How cosmopolitan.
Yeah, exactly. The business will occupy and utilize most of the three-story building at 82 Hartwell Street, that was once home to the former Salter College and originally was built by Edison Illuminating Company, now known as Consolidated Edison, or Con Ed for short. He says supply chain problems have delayed the opening of Cosmopolitan Dispensary by 10 weeks. Oh, the city's not going to be happy. The 10 weeks of taxes they don't collect.
There's going to be a lot of people that are going to maybe see the sidewalk for the first time in a while.
Construction, he said, of what he describes as a chic retail customer and display room, in addition to security system and other rooms, is now 85% complete. Flanagan anticipates a grand opening by April 1st. So that should be interesting. But the supply chain issues are not only here in food, in gifts, in clothing, in other materials, especially wood. Wood is outrageous.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
Wood is outrageous. I just looked at a plank of wood, $8 a foot.
Yeah.
I was like, $8 a foot for a plank of wood.
Oh yeah, it's ridiculous. People are putting off projects and everything else. It's insane. But look, again, we get to government. They blame everybody. Look at boy Biden. Americans expect less. It's your fault. You people want too much. How dare you? In the richest country, China's the richest country in the world now. Let's be perfectly frank. Americans try to pretend that, but we have the richest man in the world. You know,
China owns half of Massachusetts.
and China owns half of everything. But
yeah.
the reality is, let's face it. How dare you expect to have a high living standard? We've had the highest living standard on the planet forever. And how dare you expect it? Expect less. You peons want to have all your Christmas presents under the tree. It's your fault. It's your fault. Nancy Pelosi can make $17 million last year on a stock market with insider trading. They said when she took office, she was worth a couple of million. Now she's worth like $280, $300 million. They're getting 10. She's getting 10. And there were 49 other Congress people who had traded with insider information, which is, by the way, illegal. But nobody cares.
I wonder how many of them have Pfizer and Moderna stock.
A lot of them. and you know, this is the problem. All the elitists, they're all millionaires. They get to Congress and become millionaires, and then they blame the great unwashed. It's your problem. You actually want to have enough money to feed yourself? How dare you? As they eat their oysters and their $15 a pint ice cream. So listen, we have a disconnect here, and it's not about color, it's not about race, it's about income. The people that run a Democratic Party are elitist rich people who don't care about you. And I can get a book that says in 1850 they felt the same way, and I'll read it at our next show. But we're wrapping it up, so CJ always closes, so I'll tell you guys, have a great holiday and stay healthy, and eat, drink, and be merry.
Well, that's a good way to start wrapping up this show. It's just very interesting that the politicians say that, especially around the holidays. Mm-hmm. Nobody's saying let's help the taxpayer, help the people. No, it's your fault, and that's an absolute shame. Yeah. But we've done our job. We've taken care of it. We've given you the full story. We hope that you run with it and you know what's happening. And please, Paul, correct your veracity. Be correct and on point. And Paul, have a Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas, everyone. Remember, stay safe, stay angry, and hold your politicians accountable. Merry Christmas. We'll see you on Monday.